Good day, everyone. My name is Vince Gelman. Thank you for joining me today. I've been looking at some footage lately, some reports about what's going on in China, and it's absolutely shocking. It's very disturbing to see the the mandates, the restrictions being placed upon the populace, how they are in such extreme lockdown. And of course, this has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with health and everything to do with mass control, with China being the blueprint for what our dictators are trying to enforce in our own countries. So I saw footage today, actually, of a father who is a brave protester, and these protests are not something we would have seen years ago. We haven't seen anything like this, I believe, since Tiananmen Square. So these are unusual protests. These are very brave protesters to stand out, to speak out against such a ruthless authoritarian government. So I saw this footage of this protester, and he was at home, and these, I'm assuming they're government police agents, I don't know who they are. They come in, like four of them, and they start interrogating him, slapping him around, and they're doing this in front of his two little children. So this is obviously abhorrent. It's just so sad to watch on so many levels. And what's happened recently is that a building burnt down in China, and the people in the building could not escape. They were trapped and they were burnt alive. And the reason they couldn't escape is because their doors were sealed shut, because of part of the measures being put in place to keep people locked up. And so this burning alive of people is what tipped the scales. It's what really catalyzed the protests, what made people so angry. And that's what happens. That's where they are now. They're at a place where they have nothing left to lose now. When everything has been taken away, and it's your children's lives and your grandchildren's lives that are at stake, well, sometimes all that's left to do is to fight. And that's not what my teaching is. My work is not about fighting. I'm not here to fight for freedom, but for some people, that's what's necessary. Sometimes you do need to fight. And so I really stand with them. I stand for them in their courage, in doing what, who knows if I would be able to do that. I don't know how many of us would be able to do that, but they are doing it, and I so commend them. So the question that comes to me, well, there's many questions, but one question that comes to me is, how many people are watching that footage? How many people are looking at it carefully? Number two, how many people are taking it to heart, taking the magnitude of what is happening to heart? And number three, how many people are letting that footage, that reality, break their heart open and to feel disturbed by it? How many people are watching the footage? How many people are letting it hit home in the heart what's happening? And how many people are letting themselves be disturbed by it, to have their heart break open? This is, and I feel so strongly about this, this is our collective responsibility right now. This is our social responsibility right now, to look tyranny in the eye, to look reality in the eye. It is our social responsibility. It is our collective responsibility. And I feel so strongly about this that we must look at what's happening in the world and care a little bit less about sitcoms, care a little less about sports, care a little less about boat trips and trips to the pub, and care a whole heck of a lot more about our family, because they are our family. See, this is what's happening right now. What COVID is catalyzing, or what it did catalyze, and what this is all catalyzing, is that we are becoming global citizens. When we were all locked up in our homes, on one level, we were more distanced, but also on another level, in our collective suffering, in our collective isolation, we are in a way more connected because everything stopped. And when everything stops, we feel each other more, we sense each other more, we're not as distracted. We were all experiencing something very similar or the same. So in that similarity of experience, there was a connectivity that wasn't there before in 2019, 2018, when we were all busying about in our little bubbles. So on the one hand, we were more separate and isolated, but on the other hand, I feel it brought us together. And it's continuing this momentum of bringing us together. We are becoming more globally aware. We are becoming more global citizens. And that is a sign of spiritual maturity. That is a sign of spiritual maturity. Spiritual maturity is when I don't just focus on my little world, and I don't just give my love to this person and this person and this person, my nuclear family and a couple of close friends, but I actually give my love to a much broader range of individuals. I send my love across the world. I don't just open my heart to a few close people in my life, in my inner circle, but I open my heart to people in Iran and Saudi Arabia and Ethiopia. I open my heart to the people in prisons. I open my heart to the people who are starving. I open my heart to the dolphins and the whales and to the marine life that are suffering. I become a global citizen. That is spiritual maturity, as we expand our awareness to include more and more and more. That is what a higher consciousness is. It's an expanded consciousness, and with expanded consciousness comes an expanded capacity to love, to be with others in their suffering, to care. That's one way to understand what these times are about, is that we are waking up to an expanded state of consciousness, and that is obviously true. See, it's the heart that is not limited by time and space. So when I take what's happening to heart in China, or Saudi Arabia, or Iran, or elsewhere, when I take what's happening to heart, to the degree that I let it disturb me, to the degree that I feel it, to the degree that I let it break my heart open, I carry those people in my heart. I walk with them. They're in my heart. People in China are in my heart. And the more they're in my heart, the less that sitcom matters. It becomes harder and harder to really care about it because I care about them. So the heart transcends time and space. And any parent knows this. If you have a sick child at home and you have a nanny that's taking care of that sick child, and because you got to go to work, Well, you're sitting at your desk doing your work, but your heart is with your child. You're carrying your child in your heart, even though you're half an hour away. You're not carrying your child so much in your mind. You may be thinking about your child, but it's really in your heart that you carry your child. It's your heart that transcends time and space. So that's what we need right now. We need hearts willing to break open to a love that transcends time and space, to an inclusivity, to an awareness that transcends time and space. An awareness that says, you are with me. Even though you are way over there in China, you are with me. I'm walking in this forest and I'm thinking about you. I care about you. That's our continued prayer, everyone. Prayer begins there. It's wonderful to sit at your altar and pray for these people. But what happens after you finish your prayer? The real prayer, in my opinion, is to take the suffering of the world to heart and let it break your heart open. And that is what it means to be a global citizen. And that is your continued prayer, is to feel for these people. That is your continued prayer of love. That these times are really demanding right now, is that we extend our love across the planet. By allowing truth to hit home in the heart. This is our collective responsibility right now, is to become a true lover of humanity, a true lover of our fellow citizens. And so I think that's all I'm going to say today. I hope that my words have touched you, and thank you as always for listening and watching, and please share, please subscribe, all that jazz. Really, it's not that important to me to say that right now, and yet I feel a part of me needs to. So thank you for listening and watching, and take care of your heart.